So today we're going to be doing something completely different. I'm going to react to Russell Brunson's latest video that is talking about how 2024 was brutal and his predictions and steps for 2025. The reasons why I want to make these videos are twofold. Number one, I don't think that enough coaches and experts and experienced workers are honest about what is happening in the industry right now. 2023, 2024 was brutal for so many people are struggling behind the scenes, yet we're not opening up the discussion. So I hope that we'll do with this video. And then the second reason is that since 2020, I've built my online coaching business from 0 to over 6 million. So at the beginning of my journey, I was reading Russell's books actually, and I just didn't know what to do with them. Like, it sounded interesting. I was learning so much from his One Funnel Away challenge, more than in my marketing studies, to be transparent, but I didn't know how to action it. And now I'm re-listening to his books in the car, and I'm looking back and I'm like, he told me everything I needed to do, but I didn't understand how to action it because it was two bird's eye overview. And now, just in retrospect, these things make sense, but he definitely was talking from experience and he has brilliant strategies, right? So I admire him as a marketer. I learned a lot from him. I saw that a lot of the things that he says are making sense, and I want to contextualize them for my audience and hopefully, translate it into action and into how to think about these things when you try to grow your business. All right, so now without further ado, let's jump right into the video and let's react to a few things.
Hey, this is Russell Brunson. I want to officially welcome you to episode number 1 of the Russell Brunson Show.
So really cool. First thing is he is welcoming us to the episode number 1 of the Russell Brunson Show. And when we're listening to this, you will see that he is talking about the evolution of his podcasting journey and his whole personal brand journey. So I quickly want you to listen to this.
I don't know, I'm in a spot in my career, in my life, where I want to talk about a lot of stuff. And the marketing secrets kind of pigeonholes me in this weird spot where I'm allowed to talk about marketing.
He has been talking about how he had his Marketing in a Car podcast. That was kind of the foundation of his audience building. And then he now goes back to personal branding, which I think is so interesting, right? He's starting this episode about, basically, I see this as a reboot button that he's pushing right now. And he's starting it with welcome to the Russell Brunson Show. So he is doubling down on personal brand, founder-led business, right? So he's leading with that. And when he's talking about this evolution of his podcast, when you're listening in, he says how he had Marketing in a Car and then he tried to reposition it, and he was thinking about so many things, but eventually he's at a point in his business where he wants to talk about so many things. And this is something that I talked about in a recent video of mine that was super well received, all 40 reasons why schools and memberships fail. And that is that often as we grow, we start to corner ourselves. So the way that we're building our expert business is that we are looking for the smallest meaningful problem that we can solve. That's our pond, so we can quickly be the biggest fish in the small pond. When I transitioned from e-commerce into building my personal brand, helping coaches with ads, I picked running lead generation campaigns to building up their email list and filling up their Facebook groups, because I could do it for a fourth of the average cost on the market, right? So I was quickly becoming kind of the biggest fish in ads to fill up Facebook groups for coaches, which is like a really narrow pond. But it allowed me to venture out into other methodologies and like self-liquidating offers, which are break-even funnels that he is actually talking about, and other things. So my personal brand grew as I was stacking methodologies, things that I experienced. Now, I eventually packaged those into low-ticket programs and memberships like Funnels and Ads Pro and Coaching Membership Method. And as I kept growing and evolving and helping thousands of people in these programs, I saw how the method approach is actually limiting me, because a method will always lose its effectiveness like the more people are doing something, right? So the more people are using an exact formula, an exact template, the quicker we're saturating that opportunity. So I kind of went back to teaching people, and I redid and gifted the whole content to my Coaching Membership Method students, where it was coming from a principles first approach to teaching memberships. And so that's kind of the balance that you have to find when you evolve as an expert. You need to leverage methodologies to become known and to be able to help people quickly, but then you need to be able to make the jump to teaching not methodologies, but principles and skills. And that can be a really rocky road because you have to transition. And this year I did my rebrand and I closed down some methodology programs to eventually go from Coaching Membership Method to grow with Evelyn. But it was necessary because I was starting to see I am doing my members a disservice by keep teaching one methodology that now is evolving as the market is changing, right? So school came in with school payments, with the school games, the whole membership ecosystem, the tools that we have now, the strategies that we have now, the competition was changing. So I needed to teach about it more broadly to keep people competitive, right? And so it was necessary from a teaching perspective, from a helping people perspective, and it was also necessary from a perspective of my personal growth and still being able to find joy in it. Because that's what he's talking about. Like he says, I'm at a point in my business where there's so many things I want to talk about, right?
Talk about marketing. I kind of go outside those bonds, but those bounds. A lot of people are like, I come to Russell to learn about marketing. I'm like, I know it's awesome. And so like for a little while, I was like, well, I love marketing, also sales. What if I changed the branding to the Selling Online podcast? And I almost did that. In fact, we even created an intro video. It was awesome. But then I was like, I love talking about personal development. And so like we almost changed the podcast to Round Pegs, Square Holes. And that was gonna be the thing. I was gonna create a whole separate podcast and one on marketing, one on personal development. And it was just getting confusing. I was like, you know what? This is the deal. People come to me for different reasons. Some of you guys came to me because you want to learn marketing. Some of you guys came to me to learn sales. Some of you guys want personal development. Some of you guys just like, you have no idea why you're listening to me. You're just here because I'm trying to entertain you. We're having a good time. Some of you guys like me telling stories about old people who have passed on, who changed the world. That like Napoleon Hills and Orson Swett Martins and like all these people that like.
Yeah, I'm not a Napoleon Hill fan, but I know he is like a big fan of him.
And so I have a lot of things I want to talk about. And so I kept trying to shift these things around. Finally, I was like, you know what? Most of the people I know, the show's named after them. It's like the Rachel Hollis show, the Gary Vee show, like things like that. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to change this to the Russell Brunson show, and I can talk about things I want to.
So yeah, beautiful. That's also, coming back to doubling down on his personal brand. But now he's coming to a place where he's holistic personal brand and he can go back into documentation mode again. So you talked about the Gary Vee show, right? The reason why this works so well is Gary just needs to be Gary, and it just needs to be documented what he does. Again, there's pros and cons to everything. I'm purely looking at it from like a marketing perspective and how you can translate it back to your business. If you can find a way where you are just in documentation mode, right? So you are passing on everything that you learn in real time. There's so little friction. You don't have to, how he talked about all these considerations, like I could name it like this because that's a strength and an offer I could potentially make, right? Or I could talk about that in a different show, or I could have like 2 shows for every market segment. Ultimately, that's not how people see us. How people are seeing us is exactly that. Like people come to us for different reasons. There are people that tune into me because, I won the school games and they want to learn about school from me. There's people who have seen me building the memberships and they want to do that. There's people who see my PLR membership and they want to learn about digital products and PLR. There's people who have a high ticket and they have seen me growing from low ticket first, outperforming some of them with low ticket, and then doing a very ethical high ticket. So that's the reason why they hear from me. And I cannot have possibly like a show for every one of them. And I would break my brain trying to figure out like the messaging pieces of that. So I'm just being me and I'm documenting my journey, right? And so when you're looking at my YouTube channel, the things that I'm learning and that I'm doing, I'm just documenting them. So these were the most successful creatives when I was running ads directly to my school community. But then eventually I put my school community on waitlist because I realized like it's a much more profitable way to spend money on ads if I'm not going for direct sales campaign, but when I'm working with an almost evergreen workshop. So I just share these updates with my audience, right? And I'm communicating them as they happen, as a trial, an experiment. Here's what I'm doing next, right? And with that, I'm never falling out of authenticity because I'm not ever saying, this is the one way to think about this. This is the one way to do things. It's like, now I'm trying this and now I'm trying that, and here's what I'm learning. So I can be much more authentically and I can be much quicker with my content creation because I'm just reacting to what's happening in real time. This is also how this video came to be, right? So I was driving my son to the eye doctor appointment and I was listening to this in the car and I was like, wow, I have so many opinions about this. So I want to make an opinion piece about this video because I want to contextualize it for my audience, right? So I'm just in documentation mode and that allows me to be so quick, right? And in our industries as experts, it's not the bigger fish that eat the smaller fish, it's the faster fish that eat the slower fish. So just being you and starting, of course, you first have to gain traction. You first have to get your first handful of customers that you actually help. That's when you can work with, I've done this and now I have a method and I want to validate it with a beta offer and help the first people. But eventually, as soon as possible, you want to be that documentation of your journey, right? So, and I'm not saying switch the method. I'm saying when you are working with like a method approach, you're basically saying, I'm setting an ambitious goal for myself. I'm getting to this goal, and then I'm condensing the journey because I'm saying, okay, so I set this ambitious goal for myself. Here's all the things that I tried. These are the things that worked. I would like to help others do the same so I can validate my methodology, right? So that's the methodology approach that's authentic and genuine, and where you can then, without feeling like an imposter, just report again from, this is what I'm doing, like who wants help with that? So just documentation mode, most sustainable, most ethical, quickest for you to create. Absolutely. Okay, so that was the first thing that I found was really interesting. Then he was reflecting on his year, and there were a couple of things that I wanted to dive in.
80 to 50 to 40 to 10, all the way down to like 3 or 4 companies. I ended up getting 3 or 4 offers at the very end. And it was the day of the elections that just happened. So it was the next day. And we're sitting there looking at the offers. And I don't know, it was weird. The offer was insane. Had I said yes to that, I never would have had to work again. I don't know, it was crazy. But there's something weird inside where I was just like, I didn't feel good about it. I was just like, I don't feel like I'm done. I don't know, it was a weird thing.
So he's now talking about that he was ready to sell ClickFunnels, and he had a significant offer on the table, and he didn't want to accept it. And so this is something I want to talk about that's very top of mind for me, and that we a lot discussed in the mastermind, right? So I know that there is this book, Built to Sell, and there is this mindset. It's like, you need to out operationalize yourself of the business. Your business is not worth anything unless it can run without you. And I have tried to do this in my business. In 2023, I tried to put in more processes, put in more structure, operational management, like all of these things. And what happened for me was that it diminished the quality of my offers, right? And it was really getting me far away from my members. And we went into a downward spiral because I had so much positive word of mouth. That's also what lifted my ads so much, so that I was really able to get this far with low ticket. When I tried to out-operationalize myself of the business, it lost its essence, right? And so what I realized that the product to market fit was related to me fitting to the market, right? So Brunson show, grow with Evelyn. People wanted to grow with Evelyn. And then eventually some people want to scale with Evelyn, right? But it's about me and the essence. And Alex Ramosi talked about this in one of the Q&As in the school games, where he was like, when people are trying to do this, they're like diluting milk because they're teaching someone on the methodologies and they're bringing on more people. And so eventually it doesn't taste like milk anymore. But that's what you would need to do if you want to have a business that you're building to sell. It's very hard with expert businesses to actually do that, right? Because it will eventually be diluted milk. And even with Alex Ramosi, right? So I was also competing in the 100, and I came fourth with 240,000 additional new revenue added in school in 90 days. And we were winning a session with him. So we had like a 10-minute one-to-one where he would give you feedback on your strategy and on your questions. That would have not been the same if it was with anyone from Alex's team, right? It was so valuable for me because it was with him directly. And I think you can always, if you're very, very good operationally, you can always build a team and build the operations, etc., if that's the route for you. And I think what Russell said there so nonchalantly is, it was not the route for him. He was not done. And I think that's where I felt connected back with Russell when I watched this video. He's an artist. He loves marketing, like he loves the craft. He loves ClickFunnels. He loves his community. He was not ready to leave that behind. And it was when he listened to this video, and I really encourage you to go and watch it like for yourself. When you listen to it after, you see that decision not to leave his community and his baby ClickFunnels behind, and still going down that artist route and saying, no, I want to be in this. Like I want to stand by my community. It cost him a lot of pain, but because he's an artist, he could not leave his art behind. And so I think that's just something where I see that if some of you are like me, that are like, well, what if I don't want to build to sell? What if I just want to build because I love this and I love doing this work with people and I love having this community? That's an okay route to go, right? He says it's okay. I say it's okay. There's people who want to, eventually build like the private equity firms and become a billionaire. That's fine if that's your route, if you want to do that. You can be CEO. Alex Ramosi says this famously, no matter what business you start at, the CEO seat always looks the same with a team of competent people, and like you're always ending up doing the same work. That's not for me, right now, because I want to do this work that I'm doing with the people, and I love being in the weeds with people. So I just want to kind of give permission to say, if you don't want to scale up your operations, if you don't want to operate yourself out of the business, there's routes to do that, right? And Russell is doing that in a business that I've done 6 million, I'm doing 2 million a year. He is doing so much more. There's scalability in that as well. if you say, no, this is the business that I don't want to sell, right? And he has built everything to get to this point just to say no, which I thought was like really interesting.
It's crazy because like the selfish thing would have been like, peace, I'm out. I've got a 9-figure check for myself. Todd's got one, all, and it would have been easy. But for some reason, I don't know, maybe we're dumb. We decided to say no to it.
A 9-figure check, right? You have to be an artist to say no to a 9-figure check.
Maybe we're dumb. We decided to say no to it. We knew we built ClickFunnels was amazing. We knew we needed to build something for the next, to take it to the future, to do what we needed to do. We needed to do something different.
So this is also this not done kind of idea. For example, with the coaching membership method, when I closed the doors, I could have just said, this is the methodology. It still works because it still does, right? But I was not done. Like I needed to update the people. So that's why I invited them to the big membership mentoring in the summer where, I did, I think, over 20 hours of content, just updating everyone. Now I'm inviting them. I invited them to the Almost Evergreen workshop, which is also like an 8-week program that we're doing together. I could have charged for this, right? I could have just not gave free access, but I was not done. And I think that that's also like what he feels is like, it was not good enough. There's still something to go after. And again, like you can think what you want. And I understand that there are problematic things, but from an artist perspective, like about my business, I appreciate that. Like, I'm not done. I need to make this better.
And so we sat down and went back through the drawing board and kind of designed it all out. And Todd spent a year by himself with a team of guys, build out the foundation for what would become the new ClickFunnels. We spent a year of it and it was like turning out so good. And next year's Funnel Hacking Live, and this is probably my mistake, but like I was so excited and I wanted people to know, because people were asking like there's other competitors coming out, like, what are you guys doing? And like, and we were obviously fixing and trying to make the core product solid and stable, all kind of stuff, but we were building something new. And so finally, at next Funnel Hacking Live, so it was the years of development, I came out and I was like, okay, this is what, like, I told them like 2.0, this is what we're building, this is what it's gonna look like. And people were so excited.
So yeah, that's a mistake I also made, right? So sometimes when we have never done something before, we don't estimate how long things will take us, right? But because we have a bigger audience, it's kind of pushing like, when is this coming out? Like, when are we doing this? Or I see you doing that. Can you teach us about it, right? So when you keep teaching people and then you keep evolving and you keep growing and people are like, what are you doing there? What are you doing there? But you're not ready to fully share yet because you're still figuring it out. Then you'll see like when I then let my audience know I'm still figuring it out. I'm not there to them it, but people are like, we want it. And then it's like an easy pitfall to say, I have it soon. And people are like, but when? Because you need to find like that sweet spot between speed and you need to be able to have the quality. And I think that's where, and with the software, I mean, this is infinitely harder. So that's where they had the pitfall.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's one of those things where you always feel like you're closer to done than you are, And so that year we announced it, and it's just crazy because half our audience was so excited, and then half the audience was like, I don't know, it's just funny. Like the people who don't like me or like ClickFunnels were just like from day one, oh, it's gonna be horrible, and it was so crazy. Like we just told you we're working on something, and you're already talking trash about it. Like, it just blows my mind how people work. But
I also think like that was interesting for me to see. Like he is so far in the journey, and these things still get to him, right? And so I think that that's the same. Like for me, people think, once you make a certain amount or once you have a certain amount of client base, like they start to dehumanize you, right? So in the beginning, when you're the underdog, everybody's cheering for you. But once you're like bigger, it starts to be like they forget like that you really care, right? And then it can hurt you. And I think like you can see this here in how he was reacting to it. Like these things get to people as well. And I'm not saying save them from it, right? So we can handle it, but it's just something that I think it's worth noting.
Then it was out there, so people knew about it. And so we spent the next year working on it, building it. And so next year's Funnel Hacking Live was coming up, and it was tough because people were waiting a year for it, and we were waiting, and we've been testing it for an entire year, and it was very solid. It was working great. There were like bugs and hiccups and stuff, but it was like, anyway, it is what it is, right? And so next year Funnel Hacking Live, we didn't launch it there. We did a beta launch. Everyone who was at Funnel Hacking Live, and then like 2 months later, a month later, whenever we did the ClickFunnels 2.0 launch, and we gave it to everybody. And what's crazy, this is like in hindsight, when we launched ClickFunnels the first time, there weren't very many customers. People come in, they find bugs, we fix them, and then more people come in, we find more bugs, and just like kind of clean things up. But we went from 0 to getting 18,000 new signups in a week. 18,000 people joined. And what's crazy, in hindsight, if I could go back in time and say, young Russell, don't be an idiot. We had 18,000 people sign up, and there were all sorts of things. And we spent the next year just trying to keep on top of it. And it's hard because like, when we launched it, I told everyone, like, this is the beta 2.0. It's amazing. When you sign up for a year, we'll give you classic and 2.0. You get both. So I was like, my head is like, best of both worlds. There's gonna be some bugs and stuff, but people can have classics. Doesn't matter. Like both best of both worlds. The problem is a lot of people don't look that way, and we had people that were upset with us. For the next year, we spent just fixing things and fixing it and trying to keep in front of it and like improving it, getting the platform solid and like trying. Anyway, it was a lot. And so that was like last December. It was like it'd been a year of that. So again, 4 years. We had a year of building, a year of pre-launch, and we launched it in a year. It's last December. I was like beat up, and I listened to that podcast episode, and I was just like, I was beat up. right? And I was just like, man, this is crazy. Like, I'm trying to serve people. Like I literally did not quit. I did not take this huge payout, and instead we sacrificed all this stuff to try to create this amazing thing for people. And a lot of the people who we created it for were angry and mad, and like talking trash about me and like attacking. And it was just like, I don't understand this. Like, what we thought we were doing the right thing was to not just take easy money and just walk away. It was like, no, let's go back and anyway, it's just weird to me. And it was like, anyway, it was tough. It was tough. I remember at the end of it, I was talking about a couple things, like just how brutal it had been, like people attacking me and attacking the company and stuff, and how hard that hurt me. It also been a year since my partner Dave Woodward had passed away, which was hard. And it's just like, man, I don't understand. Like when, I don't know, it's a weird thing. Like when you're the underdog coming up, everybody cheers for you. And when you're on top, it's weird how people just want to take shots at you. Especially people who you helped, who you served, who you helped them start their businesses and launch it, and then they come attacking you. It's just like, I don't understand. I'm trying to do everything right. I'm trying to do what I think is best for us and for the community. Like I wasn't selfish and just cashed out in like peace and like left things where they were at. And so
I felt this like so deeply because when I did the rebrand this year and when I decided to not sell the other programs anymore, because I was like, this is not the route that I need to take people. I need to build something that is quicker, that is more hands-on, where I'm more intimate with people again, where I can pass on, like I said, not the methodology, but really the skills. I was also facing some backlash from my community, right? They also didn't like school, which, ultimately a lot of them now started a school platform because it's a really good product. I personally invested in school $100,000 when I had the opportunity because the product is so good. But of course, there's certain communities on school or, some people might not align with or Mosey or don't, like Sam. So there was so much backlash from my audience when I did that. And I tried to explain. I was also, having people that like literally said, you changed my life, but, fuck you. And I was like, whoa. And it's so, and here's the thing, right? It's like, you have to be able to handle that. And when you're growing to these things, like it will happen to you as well. We cannot expect our customer to be grateful. Like, this is not why they're buying. I wholeheartedly emphasize with this. I cried so much this year because of these things. I've come to the realization that my customer owes me nothing. They bought the thing. It's my job to do an excellent job. And the customer is always right. They don't owe me any gratitude. It's not their expectation to be had, right? So I always believe that the parasocial relationship building, right? It's a real thing. It's so powerful. And I have customers who have been supporting me and cheering for me, but I cannot expect that from them, right? So it's still a transactional relationship. And my job as an entrepreneur is to always hold the customer in a value surplus. And the customer is always right? So I think once I kind of let go of that disappointment, like, they have to see like my intentions and they have to see me as inhuman, and they're literally saying I changed their life. So like now are they saying these things or turning on me? It's personal, and then it's not. I cannot take it personal, right? They're still right. I still have to do a better job. And that's what it is, right? We all know proportionately, Russell even more than I, we get paid disproportionately much from the market because we need to have this big bag and this thick skin to say customer is always right. I have to do better. Right? And sometimes it's like, that doing better is a matter of, it will take me a year to do better, right? It will take me a year, like step by step to do better and just weed these things out. But that's also what we have to do. I was yesterday on a 2-hour call with Sam Ovens and with Calvin Hollywood because he messaged me on school and he was like showing me a few very exciting new things. After I complained to him in December about school reputation, some things that, I was seeing as really problematic, I was really so shocked and positively surprised by him jumping on a call with me, hearing me out. And he's like, here are the changes we made. Here's what we're rolling out. And they already rolled out the changes, right? And what they now are rolling out within the Q1 will be amazing. And it's just that level of listening to the customer and getting your ego to the side and say, it does not matter how I feel about this. Customer is right? And I think that's something that I really learned from Sam Ovens as well. He's not only talking to me, of course, he's talking to Calvin, he's talking to all the community owners, and he's finding a balance, right? So he does some things that I don't love, he does some things that Calvin don't love, but he always does the thing that's the best for the overall, and he deeply listens to the customers without getting defensive about it. And I think that that's kind of the thing that I'm seeing, that you just have to understand at that level, and that a few of the people that are doing high ticket that are struggling in 2023 and 2024, that's like things that they, I think, have overlooked. Is like the market has changed, there's lower trust, and you have so much more competition, and some of your products are just not as good. You sold it a methodology, right, that you maybe did once for yourself, and then you have just a few customers you didn't help all of them, see it through because you're so busy on the front end, like getting new people in. So you actually understand the transformation much less than you think. And because you've been so scarce with like everything, every piece of knowledge you give has to be paid for, you have not evolved in a way that others on the market that have been freely giving and pouring into the bad low ticket customers, right? There's this meme about, the low ticket customer that has like 23 requests versus the high ticket is like money sent. That's it. I hate this meme. I fully disagree with this. Every dollar is a good dollar from a customer. I do have low ticket communities, some as low as $7, because I think pay to make it something worth is a thing, right? And when it's free, it's not worth as much. Pay to pay attention, I think, is a thing. But every dollar is valuable, right? So, and I think that where many high ticket coaches just miss the train is like, you have to pour into your audience and give your all and don't hold back. Like when somebody asks me in Coach Growth Hub a question about memberships, I would wholeheartedly answer. I would pull resources also from Coaching Membership Method to help them. And I will always transparently answer every question around everything that I do, because when I pour it out, more comes back in and I up level as an expert. The more people I help go through this journey, the more I see it through. And the more I also see like flaws with like rigid methodologies, why we have to again go back to principles and skill development. If you are not selling like you used to, like you have to maybe look honestly at your product and at yourself and as an expert, and you would want to say, did I not up level enough because I had a scarcity mindset? That's just my honest opinion. And that's what I see to a lot of people happening. And they're trying to get into building a low ticket community because they're like, oh, that's the next thing, right? When you want to have a low ticket, like you have to pour into it. You not have to think like, oh, they're only paying $30, $50, $100 a month. I give them the good stuff when they upgrade. The model, how this actually works is like you giving the good stuff, you're giving everything, and because you're giving everything, so many people want to work with you, and then the price regulation happens through proximity, right? Just like in my communities, I'm pouring everything into Grow with Evelyn. I'm not holding anything back. And by the way, I'm also cross-sharing with the programs that I closed, right? I'm giving free access. I'm pouring everything in my low ticket, and then people want to be in my high ticket because they want to have more access to me. That's it. Right? So there's my high ticket mastermind, it actually started with zero content. There was just an additional one-to-one coaching call a month, the in real life events that we were going to do. And now the recordings from the in real life event, these are the first content in there other than the recordings of the coaching calls. And it sells. I never had to sell anyone on the call. I was doing a session with them. What would I do in your, if I was in your shoes right now? And then if you have any questions about the mastermind, I can answer them. And that's how I sold them. There was no urgency. There was no sales process. And in the mastermind, I also didn't like promise a certain result, right? So I saw other masterminds on the platform that were like, we're going to give you the exact tools to get you built your 7-figure something. I'm like, I cannot promise this possibly. And I don't want to, because I want to sell proximity to me, not a certain result. Because then as soon as they have proximity to me, I have delivered. Right? And because people have seen me pouring in and showing up in this way in my low ticket, now they're trusting that in the high ticket, it will be that. And the atmosphere and the customer satisfaction is so good because of that, right? So and that's what I wanted to dive in on this part.
And then come January, and I'm talking publicly about this, but it's actually like a year ago this weekend. So we had I don't want to get too deep into the details of it, but we had a scare with our one son moved out. We had a scare. It was a Friday night, and anyway, we were out till 2 or 3 in the morning trying to find him, and all sorts of. Anyway, that's as far as I'll go. The kid wrestling put a hold on my son that he should not have. The ref was very slow to react to it, and I don't know, just call it lack of sleep, call it stress, call it anxiety, call it being stupid, a million different things. And I jumped out and tried to get the kid off my son, and anyway, I got kicked out of the tournament. Rightfully so. I should have. I was in the wrong there.
So there was like this whole scandal that his son had a wrestling match, and he actually went in because the opponent put like a joke on him that he should have had. And, Russell being under a lot of stress, underslept, etc., he went in. And so he lost his right to be at those wrestling matches. And so I know that was a big controversy. I, again, just want to react to it from a point of what to expect when you grow. People will have opinions about you and you will be judged, right? So you are under a lot of scrutiny and you're just a human. So you will make mistakes and people will, stone you publicly, and it will hurt. I had multiple members that had shitstorms online. I once had like a public shitstorm kind of thing online when I was having a freebie that was a swipe file. So swipe files is something that advertisers have. Like they screenshot good ads and they make like categories for themselves with notes as into how to conceptualize these ads and how to make their own versions of these ads. But it's not copying ads, it's basically just taking an inventory, so for your own inspiration for when you do create ads. And so some people were not understanding the concept, and they were exposing me for using other people's ads as mine, which I didn't do. But I remember when that was going down and how quick the comments were coming in, and like I had literally like a physical panic attack to it, because I was like reading all of these comments of what people were saying about me, and I was like, this is not true. And then so eventually I was able to regulate down, and I was able to explain that concept. And thankfully, like that whole thing turned around, and I actually got customers from this, which kind of goes to say again, document also when you fall and how you're holding yourself during the rough times, right? Don't only document the good times and the highs, also document these things, like when shit hits the fan and when you're not at your best. It was very interesting for me to experience that, right? And then I was able to turn it around, but some people are not able to turn it around. There I would just recommend, like going back to what Alex Ramosi says, is like you're uncancelable if you keep showing up and if you keep being you. And I think certain figures demonstrating that. Just don't, when you had a fallout, just own it, right? Don't make like a superficial apology video, like actually kind of change your ways, and take the learning and do something positive with it. I think that's the biggest thing that you can have as a takeaway here.
Full product side is happening, but like the ClickFunnels side, we're still losing members. Things are shrinking. And like, how do we say this? It was like, try another funnel. We did this funnel, same thing, like boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden during Thanksgiving, boom, we hit one called The Last Secret. I see thelastSecret.com. We hit it. It was like, boom, like that was a funnel that we can grow, we can scale. And so by the end of the year, it's like, oh my gosh, the two sides of the business, we've got two funnels that are scalable, growing funnels that we can spend $1 million a month on.
Okay, so here's talking about how he built two funnels that were his rescue. And I want to say that has also been something that's true in my business, right? So I have many times kind of turned things around because I had a funnel. And I remember the first membership funnel that I eventually built. It took me over 30 funnels and many attempts to have my first profitable purchase, and then I scaled to 100 members within a month, right? So then I was kind of stuck at around 100 members until I unlocked my mini membership method funnel, which was basically $7 always open membership on the front end, and then a backdoor to an always closed membership on the back end with a one-click upsell and a really strong order bump. That has unlocked massive growth in my business. This self-liquidating offer funnel, it was like a break-even funnel. And now the latest funnel that I unlocked was, instead of doing direct sales to school, I actually run a lead generation campaign to a workshop that's half a month on replay and filling up the waiting list for my school community. And then once a month I deliver it live, and I do a flash opening with a trial into my community. And so that funnel again was like a massive unlock for me. So I do fully agree with him. Like honestly, you need to focus on having a funnel for your business, and we're going to talk about the break-even funnels in a second. Okay, so now I want to talk about like the 6 things that he says. So the first thing that he says, 2035 is all about focus. I agree with this. Alex Ramosi also did a video about 2035, and he was like, fewer short-term goals, full focus. And I completely agree with this. So I basically also reduce the complexity in my business, right? So I have 2 offers: Grow with Evelyn, Scale with Evelyn. I have one main acquisition method, which is my almost evergreen funnel, basically. And I'm supporting this funnel with doing a lot of personal branding. And the funnel also grows my email list, right? So Russell is saying how he's focusing back on 2 metrics. One is his email list growth, and the other one is sales. So I just want to see if I can quickly find this. It's actually the second one where he says the key metrics that he's focused on. And so we are focused completely on the 2 same key metrics in 2025.
Building my list.
Building my list, right? So if you've been watching anything about my channel, I talk about email marketing, because it is like, over all of the years, it has been the most consistent, most reliable, most profitable for my business. And so my funnel is what he also is talking about here, a break-even funnel. So what is a break-even funnel? A break-even funnel is basically, I actually let him explain it quickly.
What is a break-even funnel? A break-even funnel is a funnel that I can spend $1 million a month in ads, and I get $1 million back during the point of sale, during the sign-up process, right? It is the key. It's the thing that gives you the ability to sustain and grow your company, okay?
Okay, so break-even funnel means you have a funnel where you spend money on the ads and you make it back within that first cycle, right? So for me, it's a month. and I had multiple break-even funnels over the years. The three that worked best are a challenge funnel, right? So this is what he's doing actually right now. He has this challenge where he's charging on the front end and then he's upselling from the challenge. So I personally always did free challenges, and I used Facebook lead generation campaigns to promote the free funnel, get the email first, grow the challenge group, right? And then have a multi-day challenge in a Facebook group that was free. And then eventually I launched into my offers, right? Now in 2023 and 2024, specifically Facebook group reach and Facebook organic reach has come down significantly, right? So also a lot of the coaches that are really, really struggling right now, they were using mainly Facebook groups or Facebook organic as their vehicles. And now this has come down to a point where it's for many just unsustainable. So I have shifted, and my break-even funnel now is a variation of that. So I'm still using lead generation campaigns, but instead of a multi-day and doing it in a Facebook group, I'm using a lead generation campaign to grow my list, and I'm promoting a free workshop. And half of the month the workshop is in replay mode. So just when people sign up, they get the replay and the templates. And half of the month I am advertising the next live workshop, and that's basically breaking me even within a month, because from the replay I have people going to my waiting list for Grow with Evelyn, and from the live I offer them a free trial for 72 hours to jump into my Grow with Evelyn community, which usually is closed. And that in itself allows me to cover the ad spend for those list growth ads in the first month. And then obviously, because it's a monthly recurring revenue membership, this is where I am actually making the profit. So I'm also having a break-even funnel. The break-even funnel that I used before in my business, before I had school, because I want to use school payments because it takes care of all the tax and all the member management, and it's what really has allowed me to, although my revenue decreased in 2024 by $500,000, I have the same profit because I have so much less overhead because I can do and manage everything myself in school. If you want to learn more about that, then this is the right video for you. So I want to use school payments. Before I decided I want to use school payments because of the operational side of my business, my best funnel, and if you're not using school payments, this is still the best break-even funnel in my opinion, is a below $10 front-end offer. This can be a one-time payment or it can be a mini membership, right, for $7. On the front end, direct advertising. In the checkout process, 2 order bumps, one at 37 or 27, the second one at 17, and then a one-click upsell either into your otherwise closed main membership or a payment plan for a mid-ticket course or a paid call from where you can sell into your higher ticket. That's still, in my opinion, like the best break-even funnel, unless you want to take payments through school, which again has big advantages in the operational side. Then I think the workshop funnel is the best break-even funnel, which is why I'm doing it right now. Okay. So that's what he said about the break-even funnel, identifying your key metrics. I'm all about that. You need to break your funnel down like into much smaller key metrics, and I quickly want to share with you like my sheet that I have on that. So this is going back to, I want you guys to be able to operationalize what he's saying. So when he's saying a break-even funnel, like you and knowing your cost, like you should have, for example, for my workshop, this is the whole funnel broken down into KPIs. So how much ad spend, how much impressions, what's my cost per mil, what are my clicks, my CTR all, my CTR, and my CPC all, my link clicks, my click-through rate on the link, my cost per link click, my lead conversion, my cost per lead, my email open rate, my email click-through rate, right, on the replay mode as well as on the live mode, the nurture email open and click rates, then how many people are watching the workshop live, how many people are watching it in replay, what is my waitlist conversion rate, what is my live workshop conversion rate, right? So then how many new paid customers, how many trial cancel, what is my trial conversion rate, what are my total paid customers, what are my existing members who cancel, my churn, my revenue collected, refund rates, then leads to Grow with Evelyn, members conversion. So these are the overall business health. And only if you're breaking down your funnel, and this is from front to back, right, from the first touch point on the ad all the way to the refunds that we might have. This is funnel front to back, all of the small things that I can measure. And when I can measure it, I can make a hypothesis about how can I improve this, right? So for example, my CTR all says how many out of 100 people are stopping the scroll to check out my ad. So when this number is low, and my benchmark here is minimum of 4%, then I can say, how can I make this ad more scroll stopping? And that goes back to the bold idea for the ad, so the hook on the ad, as well as the visual of the ad itself, right? So the creative format. And then I can make a hypothesis, okay, if I, for example, use a lifestyle image, then I can increase my CTR all because it looks like an organic post and it's more native to the platform. When we know those numbers, we can make a hypothesis on how to improve it. And we want to optimize the numbers funnel front to back, right? Because that trickles down into all other KPIs. And of course, some are more important than others, like your conversion rate. But typically, you want to go funnel front to back to optimize. And you want to start optimizing front to back with where you're particularly underperforming, right? Because there you have the biggest lever to close the holes in the funnel. So that's this operationalized. Now, why promotion trumps perfect? So I want to have you listen to this.
.com traffic secrets. I'm not focused on promoting those in a long time.
These are the books that I have read in the beginning from him and that I'm now listening to and that are now making sense in retrospect.
So we just rebuilt the funnels, and now I'm coming back to promotion of it.
I can say that they're still good. Like, I agree with him. Sometimes we have offers that are really good, but we stop promoting them. So, for example, I had a coaching planner that was selling really well, added so much monthly recurring revenue to my business, and I stopped promoting it. The reason there is that I want to overhaul it. It might be like a good idea for you. Or we had a member in a mastermind that just casually mentioned on yesterday's call, oh yeah, dude, by the way, I have this funnel that made me $1 million. And I'm like, what? And so she had like all these ideas, like things that you need to do. And then I'm like, can we run ads to this again? And so she was the first on the beginning of the call, and then at the end of the call she turned on her ads, and now they're going to that funnel again. So sometimes, we don't repeat successful action, right? For some reason we stop and then we don't revisit, and we keep building like all of these new things when we have things that can be revived and reactivated, if we just take the inventory, make a few tweaks, and then basically launch it again. And for example, the break-even funnels that I talked about that were so successful, but I don't do them without the school payments. I'm at the moment delivering live a program about my workshop system, the Almost Evergreen, right? Because of course I did it, a member asked me, and so I was like, okay, let me do it. So I invited my members from Coaching Membership Method, and I did it as an annual upgrade for my Grow with Evelyn community to be there and live developing it with me. And then I have a self-study course that I can now put on the back end of this funnel that I told you, the self-liquidating offer funnels that were working so well. I'm just missing the back end, right? But I'm building it now so I can turn it back on. So take an inventory of your business and say, what has been working well in the past? Maybe I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Maybe I don't need to rebuild like all of these things. There might be something that with a little bit of updating effort, I can revive. So what was successful actions in the past that you can repeat?
And now I'm coming back to promotion of it. Okay, promotion. You're gonna be talking about more often, like promotion, right? I'm doing more Facebook Lives. I'm doing more podcast episodes. I'm getting other people's podcast episodes. Like I'm speaking more events. Like I gotta get back into the promotion game. Same thing for you. Every single day. How are you promoting yourself today?
Yeah, and that's also something like people underestimate how much they need to promote. In the 100 with Formosi, we had a daily tracker of the things that we need to do, and literally it was like how many how much time and how much money spent on ads, how many minutes of content, how much outreach. So it was like really your day is filled with at least 3 to 4 hours of promotion before you're getting into the actual work. And that's how he built up, right? I think that's what a lot of beginners especially don't understand. They don't understand the input for the output, which is also why I think like a tracker like this is so important, right? So now I'm in another cycle of my live workshop, and I spent $10,000 to fill up that workshop, right? And so far I'm still in the promotion. We had, let me just check actually how many signups. So I just delivered it. I actually need to take the replay down now. So we had 50 trials now and 64 signups in total since we started the promotion, right? And so I need to still push to get significantly to over 100 signups for this. And again, I told you, right, I spent 10,000. So another way for me to offset this cost is actually that I did a paid session for $333, which is a 90-minute ad setup session with me for people that are significantly further in the journey. And the reason why I'm doing this as well is, again, offsetting the cost of the input, going to self-liquidating offer funnel, right? So having enough to cover the amount of input that's needed. That's why we need those break-even funnels. There's much more input required than you think. And if you can't do it on time, which most of us can't do with the direct outreach, etc., you might have to do it on paid, right? So that the ad's working for you and they generate the input for you. So you need to find a way to offset it quickly. And so the paid calls, they're a way for me to offset that even more so I can scale up more quickly, right? So my churn, my trial conversion rate on the last time was 55%, and my churn is really, really low. So my customer lifetime value is high enough for me to sustain it. But of course, I don't want to go too much into the risk. So I added this 333 paid ad session for people that are further in the journey. And the reason why I added this as well is because these people that are booking this, they're, very much a great fit for my Scale with Evelyn mastermind, right? So it's another way for me to potentially have somebody saying, how can I keep working with you after this paid session? And then I can let them know, based on your journey, you're either a good fit for Grow with Evelyn or you're a good fit for Scale with Evelyn, right? So it also becomes a funnel in itself while also offsetting some of my ad costs. And again, I'm not selling my mastermind with sales calls. I'm selling my mastermind in a way that I'm like, I'm genuinely helping you. Here's the help. And then if you have questions about how you can continue working with me, fire away and we figure out if you're a good fit, right? So that just works beautifully for me in my business, right? And so promotion, like he says, like you always have to have this input. I had 3,000 new people on my email list just this month, right? I did my YouTube videos that I sent to my email list to nurture people, and I did the conversion event, and I'm doing emails now, right, to people to let people know that I'm having this session. I actually had 12 people booking the paid session immediately, so I had to shut it down more quickly. So that's a very good strategy for me for the future. But it's like promotion, right? It just never stops. And I think a lot of people have grown to be a little bit too complacent about this, and they don't look at how much input am I actually doing anymore. So when things were going like really easy, they relaxed on the input, and now the times are just rougher, the competition is higher, and there are fewer people in demand in the market, in market for what you have to offer. So you need to go back to promotion. And so that's something I fully agree on with him. Hermosi is recommending 4 hours a day, right? If you can't do 4 hours a day, you have to solve it with ads. That's why you need to have a break-even funnel, but you can't stop promoting it. You need to find ways to basically have those promotion paid for themselves quicker. So smart break-even funnels. I'm fully with him on this. Then here he's saying something like really interesting. So he's saying the power of ad creative over social media. I want you to listen to that.
Connection with the audience, all sorts of stuff. But if you want to make money, it's creating ads. Okay, last Friday we sat there and I spent 4 hours just creating ads, ad after ad after ad after ad. Those ads you plug in, it instantly.
Okay, so I really want to talk about this. So he's saying that ads is more important than social media. So one thing that I want to say here is that the best is if you're good at social media and we can leverage your social media content as ads, and we can have you posting on social media almost like a testing ground for our creatives. So one of my beautiful mastermind members, Evita Social, we have a deadline funnel with a viral reels course for her, and we're repurposing her organic content into the ads, and it's just crushing it, right? Because think about it logically. What does the platform reward? The platform rewards if the user stays on the platform. So you're getting lower CPMs. If you're getting lower CPMs, which is how much Facebook is charging you to show your ad to 1,000 people, you can reach more people. So it's not organic versus social. It's like if you can learn organic, it will massively help you with your ads. Right? So that's the only thing where I was like, I'm not agreeing with you on this. But what I do agree with him on it is he is the founder of this business. He just told you how he got offered nine figures, to sell his business. Like, man's got things to do. And what is he doing? What is he choosing to do with his time? He's choosing to create ads. He is the creative lead on their marketing and on their advertising. And this is something I advocate for so hard because people come to me, especially in the mastermind as well. They're like, can you help me outsource this? Can you help me train my team? And I'm like, I don't want to. It's my personal life mission to empower all of you to run your ads yourself, at least to a point where you can then overlook someone and really hold them to a really high standard. Because nobody will be able to get the messaging and the product right like you do. When you are the one having the pen in the hand on the advertising, and you're getting that direct feedback from the market, and you also, like, Russell or I have the lead on your product, the way you can shape your product and your offer in direct response, right? Direct response with the market, and the way you can feed back what you're learning from the work of your customer into the ads, nobody will be able to do it like you do. And nobody will care as much as you do. So my personal opinion is that when you are a founder-led business, a personal brand who can take the lead on ads with the creative, you can be, like dangerous, like so dangerous, because nobody will be able to run ads like you do, and you'll outperform the competition on that. So I love actually that he is in there creating the ads himself. I just have to disagree on through socials, like when you try to nail organic socials, which I'm now doing with Evita's help. Actually, she just wrote a few hooks for me and gave me a template, which I so appreciate. Like, it's so sweet of her. Then if I can nail the organic, I know that I have amazing ammunition for my ads, right? So I'm doing organic mostly to see what will really click with ads, because then my ads, when they can go viral organically and I can pull them out and I can put advertisement dollars behind it, especially when it is tailored to this gets me real follows, this gets me real purchase, this is a dangerous combination. And that's why I'm after it so much, because I've seen it working so well with Vivida. And by the way, the strategy that I just told you about, having like high value paid session as a pathway to getting in touch with people that are a good fit for your high ticket, right? High ticket done ethically, I think, has a lot to do with qualifying your buyer and making sure they are at the stage where the impact that you can make has that lever on, you know, their time and their effort and their money. So a lot of it is like selling it to the right people, right? Not to, for example, complete beginners, etc. So people that are really able to receive the things that you have to give in that setting. And so having a paid session can help you to qualify it as well. And it can help you to offset the ad spend. And it's actually in Evita's business where we tested that and where I learned that, right? So that also goes back to why we want to not have like a rigid methodology and again like this guru business where people follow one path, but where you want to walk the talk and experiment with your members. Because I have these insights not only from mastermind members, I also have these insights from all of the people that are helping grow with Evelyn, with their ads, with their funnels, with their email marketing, with their launches on a day-to-day basis. I'm learning so much of things that I can then take back into my business and then that I can then apply. Okay, so he's saying something that also kind of pays into that idea. So I want to share this. So he was basically with another big name of the industry. He's called Dean Graziosi. Dean Graziosi was launching a book funnel, and he as well. And so they're friends. So they were comparing and benchmarking their stats, right? So again, you need to have stats that you can benchmark so you know where to focus your optimization methods on. So let's listen to that.
The reality is, with really good offers, the difference between offers doing good and doing great is how much creative you have going towards that. In fact, a really good story.
I fully agree. Creative volume is everything, especially in 2025, where we mostly will work with the Advantage Plus products from Facebook. So the AI is taking more and more control and is becoming really good. Creative volume is our lever.
In fact, a really good story. Dean Graziosi and I, we both launched a book about the same time. I had Expert Secrets, and he launched Millionaire Success Habits. And we were, we basically had very similar funnels. He had funnel hacked my funnels, his funnel looked like mine. And we were kind of sharing stats back and forth. It was crazy is that he was getting 4 times the many bookshelves I was having. And we couldn't figure it out. Like, even I asked him, he's like, I don't know, we're looking at stuff. And finally I was like, can I come down and let's just spend a day with my team, your team? Let's kind of coach each other, look at everything. He's like, sure, come on down. So we flew down there and went through all his numbers, his analytics, his everything. And when all said and done, we found out is the only difference between Dean and me was Dean was creating 4 times more creative than I was. That's it.
This is actually a lot of just what I'm doing with the members in Scale with Evelyn. I am just helping them to up their creative, right? So one thing that we really focus on is, especially the ones that have been very good with direct response, direct sales, we're establishing like a solid list building and email marketing and middle of funnel for YouTube content strategy, because that is important. And you see Russell doing it, right, as well. Focus on the email marketing, but then he also is in his podcast, so he has that long form video to really nurture, right, and accelerate the relationship, how much time people have spent with us. So that's one thing that we do. But then the other thing that we typically do is just volume of creative and how many distinctive angles we can find into the product. Every well-worked advertisement angle unlocks another market segment for you. And the way that I've been growing my business so successfully low ticket was with those self-liquidating offer funnels. And the front-end offer was basically always catered to a different segment of the market. So I could, because I've mainly grown with Facebook ads, like Russell as well, right? He did a lot of Facebook advertising. And this is, I think, also what he's primarily talking about, here. You can only scale Facebook ads to a certain threshold for a specific segment on a day-to-day basis without, have diminishing returns on your profitability. So you have 2 choices. You have 3 choices. Either you increase your customer lifetime value, right? Which is why more high ticket, which I'm not personally the biggest fan of. Of course, you need to optimize your customer lifetime value, but it cannot be the solution to poor advertising. Now, the next choice that you have is creative volume and angle volume. So you have more entry points from the angles that you test on your ads, but also from offers that you create, right? So you create multiple different lead magnets, multiple different self-liquidating offers, multiple different challenges, so you can grow in a more scalable, more profitable way. I've done that, and the challenge with that is that it can be tiring out your audience if there's a lot of overlap, and it just adds operational complexity to your business. So that's the next one, is like the volume of the creative. And then the biggest one that I've learned from Alex Ramosi, because he talked about his ads in the one-day event when we were in Vegas, your brand lift on your ads, right? So he's getting insane lift on his ads because he has built such a big organic brand. And so that's something that I'm also focused on right now. I need to elevate my brand and have more people knowing me, so that my ads performance can actually be lifted. So those are the biggest levers that you ultimately have. That I found it really, really interesting that he talked about it, and also that he talked about how to benchmark, basically. Okay, now another thing that he's talking about here is staying curious in business. So I want to keep this.
You're not gonna be successful, right? You gotta understand everything, like their mindset, why they do it, how it works, and how they structure the day. And like you gotta get deep into their mindset. So we need to become more curious about the people and the things that are having success in the world that we want to be in. Okay. We always talk about modeling success, but it's more than that. It's like figure out who you're gonna model and becoming extremely curious. Like what are they doing? How are they doing it? Why are they doing it? Asking a lot of questions. Okay. If you see someone, like when I see someone on social who's having, I see something blowing up, and I do this all the time. In fact, if any of you guys are out there, you know this. If I've seen your stuff, like I'll see like an ad or a video or something that's going viral, something I love it. I message people like, dude, your ad's awesome. It's so cool. How'd you do that? Where'd you come with the idea? Yours was it? And agents say, like I start asking these questions, right? And it's how it opens up all these doors for me.
This is so cool, and I actually fully agree with this. And I didn't understand this before I was at the one-day event in Vegas. The first time, and then the second time where we were also in like a villa together. So we were able to connect off the event, because when the event was, a lot of the attention was on Alex because he's like a brilliant teacher, right? And everybody wanted to get as much of his brain power as possible. But in between those things, when we had the villas, we were able to connect with each other, and I connected with many successful school owners, and we were like bouncing back and forth those ideas, and really like practical, like how do you do this and how do you do that, and what's your customer acquisition, and how do you have you set up that campaign. And so just seeing the like small like details of what somebody's doing, that's the best. And that's also why I love communities so much, because you can ask your other members, right? So for example, in the Almost Evergreen workshop course that we had yesterday on the call, I had a member. She was implementing it and she was getting a 2.2 return on her first ever trial, which was so exciting because other things have not worked for her in the past. And so I was like, please go, can you share this with the community? And when others ask you, can you please answer the questions around that, right? Because that's when people that are at a similar stage, right? So my mechanisms, we just have to be honest and transparent about this. When I'm doing something in my business, it will work differently because of the reputation I've built, the audience I've built, the experience I've built, how I'm holding myself, how I can communicate, the niche that I'm in, right? All of those prerequisites give me a certain privilege in when I'm doing things. Now, when somebody's at the complete beginning of their journey, their complete beginning of the journey in 2025 looks different than it did for me in 2020. So when now people are applying the strategies that I'm translating to them and they're seeing success like in those early stages, I want the members to connect with each other and like, how did you do this? I want people to see different niches. I want people to see this out like playing out differently. And that's the beauty of a community where people are sharing their results and what they're working on. And you can connect with them like in a non-awkward way because we dare to share. We dare to share, basically. And the same kind of goes for a mastermind, and also why I'm now understanding how it's still like just a community, right? It's like the same offer, but it's more, well, it has more access to me, but it also has just the people that are at a very similar level. So their benchmarks and their problems and the things that they are working on, they will be very similar. So the exchange is more valuable. Okay, so that's the thing that he went in there. And I think that's so cool that he does that. And I think we need to be doing more of that, right? So less kind of thinking, I need to buy the next methodology, I need to buy the next solution, right? But recognizing that it is not about that, and just because it worked for one person, it will not work for you. But from that method, that path that somebody walked, when they gather people around that, we can learn alongside from first principles, and we can build the skills and we can connect with each other to actually assemble these things in real life, because that's what it all comes down to. And I think he covered all of the things that you need to be doing and focusing on in this year, focusing on the key metrics of email list growth and sales, making sure you're having a break-even funnel in your business, making sure that you're leveraging the power of social media. Here's where I don't necessarily agree with him. You need to be doing middle of funnel content, long form on YouTube, and ideally you're using social as your creative testing. I still believe that ads are the biggest opportunity, so I fully agree with him. But your ads can and should be informed from the organic success that you have on social. Email list growth with a self-liquidating offer funnel that you mainly fuel with ads, but you're supercharging your ads because you've tested them on social first, right? So you're producing that creative that is relevant for your audience and that the platform rewards, and you're having middle of funnel content that is lifting your brand, right? So that's very, very important. And then you don't stop promoting, like you're making that an actual thing of your day-to-day practice. If you can do these things and then build a product that is centered around your growth journey authentically and going back from the methods, right, and the hacks, and towards a holistic, I'm taking you on the journey, and you gather people, you're allowing that curiosity and that connection in a shared value space to happen. That's the product that you want to build, so it's sustainable, and you're not promising the result, but you're sharing that this is what I'm doing, and you can walk the path with me and the people that are walking the path. I believe that that's the way to go in 2025. Whether you're a beginner, right, or you're somebody who is like, I've really been struggling, this is, I believe, where you can recenter. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I think that it basically laid out the blueprint that I'm also following for 2025, and that I think will get the individual, but also this whole industry on a better path. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I see you in another video.